Imagine this. A destitute homeless man crashes a billionaire's opulent funeral, yelling that the deceased wife is still alive, freezing the mourners in a whirlwind of disbelief and outrage. But how could this ragged outsider know a secret that unravels the tycoon's empire of lies? And what ancient family mystery will emerge to bind them all in a tale of betrayal, redemption, and unbreakable bonds?
In the vibrant, chaotic sprawl of Lagos, Nigeria, where towering glass skyscrapers pierce the hazy sky alongside ramshackle tin-roofed shanties, a man named Kwame Okoro eked out an existence on the unforgiving streets. Once a bright-eyed engineer fresh from university, Kwame had dreamed of building bridges that connected communities. But fate had crumbled his world like a poorly constructed foundation. Orphaned as a teenager when a devastating flood claimed his parents in their rural village, he had moved to the city with high hopes, only to be swindled by a corrupt partner who stole his inventions and left him bankrupt. Now, at 42, Kwame roamed the bustling avenues as a homeless soul, his once crisp shirts reduced to threadbare rags, his thick beard matted with dust from sleeping under overpasses. Yet, beneath the grime, his dark eyes gleamed with an unquenchable intelligence, absorbing the city's rhythms, the honking of Danfo buses, the chatter of market women balancing baskets of vibrant tomatoes and peppers on their heads, the distant call to prayer echoing from minarets. On a particularly scorching afternoon, with the sun baking the asphalt until it shimmered like a mirage, Kwame perched on a cracked curb near the Victoria Island district. The air hummed with the aroma of sizzling suya skewers from nearby vendors, mingled with the salty tang of the nearby Atlantic breeze. He rummaged through a discarded newspaper, its pages yellowed and torn, scanning for any odd jobs or news that might spark a memory or opportunity. His fingers paused on a bold headline, "Tragic Loss. Billionaire Tajuddin Adebayo announces death of beloved wife Aisha." The article painted a picture of sorrow in the elite circles. Aisha Adebayo, the graceful philanthropist known for her work with orphanages and women's cooperatives, had succumbed to a mysterious illness at age 50. Her funeral was scheduled for the next day at the Adebayo family estate, a palatial compound of marble fountains, manicured lawns dotted with exotic palms, and ocean views that whispered of unimaginable wealth. Kwame's breath caught as he studied the accompanying autograph. Aisha's serene face, framed by an elegant hijab, her eyes kind and knowing. It stirred something deep within him, a fleeting recognition from a past encounter perhaps, or something more profound. Shaken, Kwame set the paper aside and rose, his joints aching from years of hard living. He paced the sidewalk, dodging pedestrians in tailored suits and colorful wrappers, his mind a torrent of questions. Just 3 weeks prior, during one of his nocturnal forays through the labyrinthine back streets of Ikeja, a district alive with neon signs and hidden dealings, he had stumbled upon a scene that now aligned like stars in a constellation. Huddled against a downpour in the shadow of a nondescript clinic operated by Dr. Obi, a man rumored to cater to the wealthy's darkest needs, Kwame had overheard muffled voices through a vent. "Keep her under. The boss says no risks," one said. And then the name, Aisha. It had seemed odd then, but now it screamed conspiracy. Aisha wasn't dead, she was concealed. Drugged, perhaps, in a scheme reeking of avarice and treachery. But who would heed the words of a street dweller like him? Society dismissed men like Kwame as ghosts, invisible until they became nuisances. As the sun dipped lower, casting long shadows over the lagoon, Kwame resolved to act. He couldn't ignore this. It echoed his own injustices too closely. His sister's untimely death from untreated illness due to poverty, a wound that never healed. Gathering his few possessions, a frayed backpack with a water bottle and some biscuits, he trudged toward the estate's vicinity. Along the way, he begged for alms to afford a meager meal. "Uncle, God bless you, spare something," he implored a businessman, who flung a handful of naira coins his way with a pitying glance. At a roadside mama put stall, Kwame devoured a plate of steaming eba and okra soup, the spicy flavors momentarily lifting his spirits. His thoughts lingered on Aisha. He recalled her vaguely from a decade ago when she had visited a community center where he briefly worked post-university. She had offered him assistance, a job even, but pride had made him refuse. Now, destiny circled back, demanding he repay that unspoken debt. By nightfall, the city's neon lights flickered to life, transforming Lagos into a glittering mosaic. Kwame found a concealed vantage point near the estate's imposing wrought iron gates, camouflaged by overgrown bushes. Inside, he could hear the faint preparations, servants arranging floral tributes, musicians tuning talking drums for the morrow's rites. Armed guards patrolled with flashlights, their boots crunching on gravel paths. Infiltrating would be perilous, a dance with danger, but the fire of truth burned brighter than fear. He dozed fitfully, dreams haunted by visions of Aisha calling out from the shadows. Dawn broke with a relentless downpour, thunder rumbling like ancestral drums. Kwame awoke drenched, shivering in the chill, but his determination was unyielding. He washed his face in a puddle, attempting to make himself presentable, then mingled with the growing crowd of curious onlookers outside the gates. Luxury vehicles arrived in procession, Mercedes and Range Rovers ferrying dignitaries in flowing agbadas and gele head wraps, their faces somber. The air thickened with the scent of burning incense and fresh lilies. Through the bars, Kwame glimpsed the chapel setup, an ornate casket at the altar, draped in white silk, surrounded by weeping family. Tajuddin Adebayo, the oil magnate whose empire spanned refineries and exports, stood tall in black keftan, his expression a calculated veil of mourning. Whispers among the elite hinted at Aisha's substantial fortune, inherited from her father's trading dynasty, now funneling to Tajuddin and their children, Jamal and Fatima. Seizing a moment, Kwame noticed a flower delivery van rumbling up. He darted forward, feigning assistance, and concealed himself amid crates of orchids and roses. The guards waved it through, unsuspecting. Once inside the grounds, Kwame slipped out, navigating the lush gardens with stealth born of street survival, ducking behind hedges, avoiding patrolling staff in starched uniforms. The mansion itself was a marvel. Towering columns, crystal chandeliers visible through arched windows, servants bustling with trays of refreshments. He reached the chapel's side entrance, heart thundering like a storm. The priest intoned prayers. "We commend Aisha's soul to the eternal light, a woman of unparalleled compassion." Tajuddin delivered a eulogy, voice resonant. "My wife was the heart of our home, dedicating her life to uplifting the downtrodden." Guests nodded, some dabbing eyes with embroidered handkerchiefs. Jamal, the sharp-suited son in his 30s, stood rigidly. Fatima, veiled and graceful, clutched a rosary. From his hiding spot behind a marble pillar, Kwame observed, piecing together fragments. Aisha had uncovered Tajuddin's embezzlement, siphoning funds from community development projects into offshore accounts, displacing villages for oil profits. She had threatened exposure, leading to this charade.
Kwame exploded from concealment, his ragged form a stark contrast to the polished assembly, voice booming like a clarion call. "Halt this farce! Aisha is not dead! She lives!" The chapel plunged into a stunned hush, the priest's Bible slipping from his grasp, mourners freezing mid-gesture. Gasps rippled like waves, women fanning themselves, men murmuring in disbelief. Tajuddin pivoted, his feigned sorrow morphing into raw fury, veins bulging on his forehead. "What blasphemy is this? Guards, remove this lunatic immediately!" Pandemonium ensued as Kwame evaded the first lunging security guard, weaving between pews adorned with satin ribbons. "I've witnessed her with my own eyes in Dr. Obi's clinic in Ikeja. She's drugged, hidden away." The words ignited whispers. Could it be? Aisha seemed so vital just last month. Jamal stepped forward, his tech mogul poise cracking slightly. "Father, explain this madness." Tajuddin shot him a withering glare, gesturing wildly. "Ignore him, son. He's a deranged beggar seeking attention." Fatima, her veil trembling, locked eyes with Kwame, a flicker of doubt crossing her features. As two burly guards seized Kwame's arms, twisting them painfully, he threshed and implored the congregation. "The casket is empty. Tajuddin stages this to seize her inheritance, lands, shares, all of it." The accusation landed like a bomb, stirring unrest. A prominent senator muttered to his aide, "Investigate discreetly." The priest, regaining composure, boomed, "This sacred space will not tolerate disruption. Escort him out." Yet Kwame's plea had sown discord, eyes darting suspiciously towards Tajuddin. Dragged toward the exit, Kwame caught Fatima's gaze again. She mouthed something inaudible, perhaps, "Wait." Outside, the rain had ceased, leaving the air humid and charged. The guards hurled him onto the slick pavement beyond the gates, one kicking his side for good measure. "Don't come back, filth, or we'll bury you next," the other snarled. Kwame groaned, rolling in mud, ribs aching, but his spirit unbroken. The funeral was stalled, the casket untouched amid the confusion. Limping away, he overheard onlookers buzzing. What if the pauper speaks truth? Tajuddin's wealth has always been shrouded in rumors. Undeterred, Kwame melted into the city's underbelly, mind whirling with strategies. Proof was essential. Documents, witnesses, to dismantle Tajuddin's web. He recalled the clinic vividly, a squat building behind bustling fabric markets, its facade peeling paint, neon sign buzzing medical services. Dr. Obi was a portly man with shifty eyes, specializing in discretion for the affluent, abortions, addictions, and now apparently staged comas. Kwame had sought shelter there during a storm, eavesdropping unwittingly. "The dosage keeps her comatose, payments due," Obi had said to a suited emissary resembling Tajuddin's personal assistant, Bode. As twilight enveloped Lagos, Kwame trekked miles to Ikeja, hitching rides on overcrowded buses where passengers swayed like pendulums. Hunger gnawed, but he pressed on, pausing at a tea kiosk for a cup of strong Lipton brewed over charcoal. "Heard about the Adebayo funeral uproar? Some street rat claims the wife is alive. Madness." Kwame sipped silently, absorbing details. Allies were needed. Perhaps Fatima, with her evident hesitation, or Jamal, whose ambition might chafe under his father's dominance. Dawn painted the sky in hues of orange as Kwame reached Ikeja's markets, alive with early traders unpacking wares, spices, electronics, knockoff designer bags. He circled the clinic warily, noting armed sentries at the doors. Peering through a grimy rear window, he confirmed. Aisha lay pale on a hospital bed, IV drips snaking into her arms, monitors beeping softly. Two guards played cards nearby, rifles slung casually. Rescue seemed impossible alone. Retreating to a shadowed alley, Kwame scavenged a discarded phone from trash, charging it at a public outlet. He dialed the estate's public line, voice disguised with a cloth over the receiver. "For Fatima Adebayo, meet at Ikeja's old fabric market at noon if you seek your mother's truth." He disconnected abruptly, pulse racing. Would she bite? The gamble was immense. Unbeknownst to him, Tajuddin had already dispatched trackers, his network of informants closing in. Round brackets, shocked silence, round brackets. As Kwame lurked in the market's din, a nondescript black SUV idled across the street, tinted windows concealing watchful eyes, engines revving ominously. The old fabric market in Ikeja buzzed like a hive, stalls overflowing with bolts of vibrant Ankara prints, lace, and Adire dyes, vendors shouting prices amid the clatter of sewing machines and bargaining crowds. Kwame blended seamlessly, posing as a browser fingering textiles, his senses alert for Fatima. She appeared at midday, disguised in a simple abaya and headscarf, flanked by a discreet bodyguard who scanned the throng warily. Spotting Kwame's signal, a subtle wave, she approached, voice low and edged with suspicion. "You summoned me. Speak quickly. What do you truly know of my mother?"
Kwame led her to a secluded nook behind a stall piled with shimmering brocades, the air thick with the scent of indigo. I swear on my ancestors, Aisha lives, sequestered in Dr. Obi's clinic mere blocks away. Your father orchestrates this, faking her demise to monopolize her vast estate. Fatima's eyes flashed with a mix of horror and denial, her hands clenching the fabric of her dress. Lies. My father grieves deeply. Why trust a stranger like you? Kwame detailed the scene, the dim room, the humming machines, the guards' lax vigilance, adding overheard snippets that matched family lore only an insider would know. Fatima faltered, memories of her mother's recent illness now suspicious, sudden weakness, Tajuddin's insistence on private care. Composing herself, Fatima whispered, "If this proves false, I'll ensure you're jailed." Yet doubt lingered in her posture as she departed, her bodyguard ushering her into a waiting car. Kwame exhaled, hoping the seed planted would sprout. Back at the estate, Tajuddin paced his lavish study, walls lined with mahogany bookshelves and African art masks, bellowing into his encrypted phone. Locate that vagrant. Silence him before he poisons more minds. His aide, Bode, nodded obsequiously, already mobilizing a team of private investigators equipped with drones and bribes for street informants. Jamal, eavesdropping from the adjoining library stocked with leather-bound tomes and glowing computer screens, confronted his father later. "Those accusations at the funeral, what's the real story, father?" Tajuddin's face hardened like granite. "Irrelevant delusions, boy. Focus on the company merger." But Jamal, a savvy entrepreneur with startups in renewable energy, harbored suspicions. Alone, he booted up his secure laptop, fingers flying over keys to breach family financial servers. Anomalies surfaced, unexplained wire transfers to Dr. Obi's accounts, coinciding with Aisha's decline. His brow furrowed. Could it be? Kwame, sensing the noose tightening, relocated to a derelict warehouse on Ikeja's outskirts, its rusted beams home to pigeons and forgotten crates. He shared a sparse meal of roasted corn with fellow transients, their faces etched with hardship. "The rich devour the poor," one grizzled man grumbled, passing a flask of Ogogoro palm wine. Kwame agreed quietly, his thoughts on infiltration. He fashioned tools from scavenged junk, a bent wire for locks, a heavy pipe for defense, planning a nocturnal raid on the clinic, perhaps enlisting Fatima if she reached out. Within the clinic's sterile confines, Aisha drifted in a haze of sedatives, fragments of memory piercing the fog, discovering forged ledgers in Tajuddin's safe, evidencing his siphoning of funds meant for village relocations. She had confronted him in their bedroom, voice trembling. "This ends now, Tajuddin. Return what's stolen." His response? A tainted drink, then oblivion. Dr. Obi monitored her, adjusting drips, muttering, "Vital signs stable. The payout better be worth it." But whispers of disturbance reached even here, the funeral interruption making headlines. Fatima, tormented, confided in Jamal that evening in the estate's garden, amid blooming hibiscus and the hum of crickets. "I met the man, he claims mother at Obi's clinic, alive." Jamal's eyes widened, he revealed his findings. "The money trails match, we must verify." Siblings united, they snuck out under cover of darkness, Fatima driving their unassuming sedan through Lagos's nocturnal veins, past glowing billboards and street hawkers peddling late-night snacks. Arriving at the clinic, they bribed a greedy guard with a wad of cash for entry. Inside, the sight of Aisha, pale but breathing, elicited Fatima's choked sob. "Mother! Oh God!" Jamal examined the equipment. Heavy sedatives, reversible if we act fast. As they debated extraction, Kwame breached the back entrance with his wire pick, startling them. "You're here. Perfect timing. Let's move her before reinforcements arrive." Working in hushed urgency, they disconnected monitors, wheeled Aisha to the car on a gurney pilfered from storage. Alarm shrieked as a tripped sensor alerted the remaining guards. A frantic melee erupted, Kwame grappling one assailant, slamming him against a wall. Jamal wielding a fire extinguisher as improvised weapon. "Go, go!" Kwame yelled, covering their retreat. Piling into the vehicle, they screeched away, Aisha murmuring incoherently in the back. Tajuddin's men gave chase in SUVs, headlights piercing the night. The pursuit snaked through congested highways, dodging lorries and potholes, horns blaring. Fatima's skillful maneuvers, sharp turns into alleys bought time. Kwame guided them to a trusted safe haven in the Ajegunle slums, a network of shacks where loyal friends among the destitute could shield them. As they barricaded inside, breaths heaving, Aisha's eyes fluttered. "My darlings, is this real?"
The safe house, a humble mud-brick dwelling in Ajegunle's maze of narrow lanes, offered sanctuary amid the cacophony of neighborhood life. Children kicking footballs in dirt streets, women pounding yam and mortars. Mama Ngozi, a wizened herbalist with beads clinking in her braids, tended Aisha with poultices of neem and ginger. The room fragrant with healing vapors from a clay pot over a kerosene stove. Kwame, Fatima, and Jamal watched anxiously, the air thick with tension. "Mother, speak to us," Fatima pleaded, clasping her hand gently. Aisha's lids parted slowly, recognition dawning like sunrise. "Fatima, Jamal, and you? The voice from my dreams?" Her tone was frail but warm. Kwame recounted his intervention, from the newspaper discovery to the funeral disruption. Aisha nodded weakly. "Bless you, Kwame. Tajuddin, he laced my tea with slow poison, declared me dead to claim my father's legacy. Oil fields, community trusts, everything earmarked for the people." The disclosure thundered through the room. Her inheritance wasn't mere wealth, but a mandate for equity, lands reclaimed from colonial grabs. Jamal's fists balled in rage. "We'll dismantle his empire." Kwame cautioned prudence. "Evidence first, records, testimonies, or he'll crush us." They huddled over a rickety table, Aisha recalling hidden safe codes and ally names from her philanthropy network. Mama Ngozi served fortifying broth, intoning, "The spirits guard the righteous, evil sows its own downfall." At the estate, Tajuddin raged in his war room, a high-tech lair with surveillance screens flickering. Interrogating Dr. Obi via video, the doctor bound and sweating. He demanded, "Who took her? Speak!" Obi crumbled. "Your children and that street urchin. They overpowered the guards." Tajuddin's roar echoed. "Mobilize everyone. Find them." He deployed drones over slums, bribed police for raids. Days blurred in hiding, forging unlikely alliances. Kwame shared tales of his downfall. The partner's theft, years of scavenging. The streets strip illusions, reveal true hearts, he reflected. Fatima, moved, confided her own stifled dreams of art beyond society galas. "You've shown me strength I lacked." Jamal, meanwhile, used a smuggled laptop to delve deeper, uncovering emails detailing Tajuddin's collusion with foreign firms for illegal drilling. One stormy evening, a pounding at the door froze them. A courier from Tajuddin, envelope in hand. "Return Aisha unharmed or the slums burn." Fear clawed at their resolve, but Aisha, gaining strength, declared, "We expose him publicly, leak to journalists, rally supporters." They strategized a media blitz, Jamal anonymizing uploads. As Tajuddin's forces encircled the Ajegunle, Kwame spotted shadows advancing. "Intruders, evacuate!" Chaos, grabbing essentials, fleeing through back passages slick with rain. Gunfire cracked the night, but locals, forewarned by Kwame's network, impeded with barricades of tires and crates. "Stand with the just," an elder bellowed, mobs forming human shields. Reaching Jamal's stashed van, they accelerated away, mud splattering. In the mirror, Tajuddin's lead vehicle loomed, relentless. "You traitors will pay dearly," Tajuddin screamed from his passenger seat, face twisted. The high-speed hunt veered toward downtown Lagos, where unexpected reinforcements, perhaps sympathetic police or media contacts, might turn the tide if they survived the perilous dash. The van hurtled through Lagos's gridlocked arteries, weaving past sputtering motorcycles and fruit-laden carts, horns blaring in protest. Fatima gripped the steering wheel, sweat beading on her brow despite the AC's hum. "Mother, brace yourself." Aisha, propped in the back with cushions, held Kwame's steadying hand, her breathing labored but eyes alert. Jamal monitored a dashboard tablet, pinging signals, 2 pursuit vehicles closing, armed from the plates. Kwame, shotgun, barked directions, cut left into the market district, lose them in the crowds. They swerved into a bazaar alive with evening shoppers, stalls illuminated by dangling bulbs, vendors scattering as tires screeched. Bullets pinged off the rear, shattering a mirror. Faster, Jamal urged, simultaneously emailing evidence packets to trusted journalists. Their salvation lay with Chidi Unwosu, a crusading reporter Kwame had aided years ago during a street exposé on corruption. Ditching the van in a multi-story car park's shadows, they hurried on foot to Chidi's modest office in a high-rise overlooking the lagoon. "In here, quick," Kwame hissed, ushering them through a service door. Chidi, bespectacled and harried, greeted them in his cluttered den of files and coffee mugs. "Kwame, old friend, what storm brings you?" Upon hearing the saga, his eyes lit. This could topple giants. Hand over the data. As they hunkered in a back conference room, walls plastered with news clippings, Aisha elaborated. "My father's will protected lands for indigenous farmers, displaced by Tajuddin's rigs. He covets them for expansion." Bonds deepened over shared fufu and degusi soup from a nearby eatery. Kwame recounting survival anecdotes, Fatima sharing poetry she'd written in secret. Chidi vetted Jamal's files, incriminating audits, witness affidavits. Tajuddin, thwarted temporarily, regrouped in his fortified bunker, summoning crooked allies, politicians on payroll, mercenaries from shadowy firms. "Scour every corner, offer rewards," he commanded, maps spread before him. His intel pinpointed Chidi's building, prompting a stealth assault. Alerted by a tip, the group escaped via fire escape, hearts pounding, into a waiting taxi. They fled to Aisha's ancestral village on Lagos's fringes, a serene enclave of thatched roofs, yam farms, and sacred baobabs, where elders in kente cloths welcomed them with open arms. "Child of the soil returns," Baba Olu intoned, offering kola nuts in ritual. There, amid drumming circles and storytelling fires, they recuperated. Kwame assisted in reinforcing defenses, barbed wires, watch posts, while Fatima nursed Aisha with local remedies. Jamal delved into archives, revelations of Tajuddin's environmental crimes, oil spills poisoning rivers, health crises in communities. Lawsuits will bury him, but a village spy, bought off, relayed coordinates to Tajuddin. As moonlit ceremonies honored Aisha's resilience, dancers in masks invoking protection, Kwame confided in her by a fire. "I've wandered lost, now purpose anchors me." Aisha patted his hand. The lost find their way home. Then a rider arrived with a dusty envelope, sealed with the family crest, containing probate documents from Aisha's father's era. Its secrets promised to redefine alliances. The envelope unveils that Kwame is Aisha's long-lost sibling, born out of wedlock and secreted away for safety during tribal conflicts, inheriting equal shares in the estate. This revelation pivots motivations from pure heroism to reclaiming blood rights, unveiling deeper layers of betrayal and forging profound family ties.
The envelope's aged papers unfurled like forgotten scrolls, revealing birth certificates and affidavits. Kwame was Aisha's half-brother, conceived in their father's youthful liaison, hidden in adoption to shield him from feuding clans during Nigeria's turbulent post-independence years. The inheritance, vast tracts of fertile land, mineral rights, was bifurcated, a safeguard against total loss. Aisha stared, tears welling. "Brother, the eyes, the resolve. I see father in you now." Kwame staggered, fragments of orphanage memories aligning, a locket with a family crest, whispers of a sister. "This alters the battlefield," Kwame uttered, voice thick. No longer mere altruism drove him. It was lineage, legacy denied. Fatima and Jamal enveloped him in hugs. "Uncle Kwame, welcome to the fold." The village erupted in celebration, elders chanting blessings, affirming the twist as divine intervention. Emboldened, they strategized anew, leveraged the inheritance claim in courts while exposing Tajuddin at his annual charity gala, a facade for networking illicit deals.
Tajuddin, informed via intercepted communications, exploded in rage. That scum, her kin? Fabrications. Accelerate the forgeries. Declare her deceased retroactively. He greased judicial palms, plotting ambushes. The group returned to Lagos undercover, holing up in a nondescript hotel in Surulere, rooms overlooking bustling streets. Kwame imparted evasion skills, changing appearances with dyes, using back routes. Aisha, invigorated, regaled them with paternal lore, a visionary chief who fought for land reforms, instilling values of communal wealth. Chidi's leaks ignited media firestorms, headlines blaring, "Adebayo hoax, wife resurfaces." Protests swelled outside Tajuddin's headquarters, placards decrying exploitation. In retaliation, assassins targeted the hotel, a poisoned delivery thwarted by Mama Noji's intuitive herbs sniffed out as tainted. Preparations intensified for the gala infiltration, disguises procured, tech gadgets for hacking. Kwame felt transformed, from outcast to guardian of heritage. The revelation reframed stakes. Tajuddin's avarice threatened not just Aisha's vision, but Kwame's birthright, fueling a fiercer resolve amid escalating perils. The gala unfolded at Tajuddin's opulent waterfront villa. Crystal lights dancing on waves, guests in resplendent attire mingling amid jazz bands and caviar stations. Tajuddin, in embroidered robes, raised a glass to enduring legacies and dear Aisha's memory. May her spirit guide our prosperity. Privately, he schemed eliminations, eyes darting suspiciously. Kwame, incognito as catering staff in a crisp uniform, slipped through service entrances with Fatima and Jamal, the latter forging invites as venture capitalists. Aisha remained at a nearby safe spot, primed for entry. Eyes open, signals clear, Kwame murmured into concealed mics. Navigating trays of hors d'oeuvres, Kwame eavesdropped on Tajuddin confiding to cronies. The inheritance secures our syndicate, drill sites unopposed. Jamal, in an alcove, synced to the AV system, ready to broadcast damning recordings. Suspense mounted during toasts and auctions. Fatima networked, swaying influential guests with subtle hints of scandal. Abruptly, security flagged anomalies, cameras spotting Kwame's familiar gait. Intruder alert. Guards converged, cornering him in a pantry. A whirlwind pursuit. Kwame vaulting counters, dodging tackles, crashing through swinging doors. "Back up now," he signaled. Jamal activated the hack. Speakers blared Tajuddin's confessed plots. "Drug her. Bury the empty box. Fortune's mine." Shocked murmurs swelled to outcry. Tajuddin bellowed, "Cut the feed! Lies!" But Aisha strode in, flanked by villagers in traditional garb. Her presence electrifying. "Husband, your deceit crumbles!" Bedlam. Smartphones capturing. Authorities summoned via anonymous tips. Tajuddin bolted to his private yacht moored at the pier, engines roaring. Kwame gave chase, leaping barriers, the sea breeze whipping. On the deck, confrontation peaked. "You've stolen lives, including mine," Kwame accused. Tajuddin sneered, drawing a concealed pistol. "End of the line, brother-in-law." The trigger pulled, a deafening bang reverberating. But whose fate sealed the night? The shot's echo faded over the churning waters, but it was Tajuddin who slumped, clutching his shoulder where a rubber bullet from a police marksman, tipped off by Jamal's preemptive alert, had struck non-fatally. Kwame stood unscathed, adrenaline surging. "Justice, not vengeance," he declared as SWAT teams swarmed the yacht, cuffing the writhing tycoon. Tajuddin spat venom. "This isn't over. You'll rue crossing me." Transported ashore, he faced immediate charges amid flashing cameras. Back at the villa, Aisha addressed the assembled elite. "Truth endures. Greed devours itself." Chidi's live feed amplified the drama globally. Stocks in Tajuddin's firms plummeting. In the ensuing weeks, the family mended in the village, exploring Kwame's roots, visiting ancestral shrines, sharing feasts of pounded yam and palm nut soup.
From ashes to ancestry, Kwame marveled, tracing family trees with elders, legal victories mounted, assets seized, inheritance affirmed in court. Kwame channeled his portion into urban renewal, shelters, vocational schools for the homeless. Empower the overlooked, he advocated, employing old comrades. Fatima launched art therapy programs. Jamal pioneered eco-friendly oil alternatives, mitigating past damages. Lingering threats, Tajuddin's appeals, loyalists' sabotage tested them, but solidarity prevailed. Reflections by firesides wove their saga into local lore, a testament to resilience.
With Tajuddin incarcerated, trials unfolding for conspiracy and environmental crimes, the Okoro Adebayo clan pivoted to restoration. The estate, rechristened as a community hub, hosted forums and clinics, doors flung wide. Aisha proclaimed, "Wealth serves the many, not the few." Kwame transitioned gracefully, merging street wisdom with affluence, organizing cooperatives, mentoring youth in engineering. "Your past forges your power," he told wide-eyed trainees. Challenges persisted, media scrutiny, inheritance disputes from distant relatives, but they navigated with counsel from Baba Olu. Fatima pursued legal advocacy, championing land rights. Jamal innovated sustainable tech, partnering with global NGOs. Aisha and Kwame bridged lost decades, strolling beaches recounting childhood echoes, games in villages, dreams of unity. The narrative inspired ballads and plays, the beggar heir symbolizing hope amid inequality.
Years unfolded like seasons, the family flourishing amid Nigeria's evolving landscape. Kwame wedded a compassionate educator from the village, their union blessed with children echoing laughter through expanded estates. "You've restored my soul," he confided to Aisha during a family gathering. Philanthropy bloomed, scholarships, eco-villages, health initiatives transforming slums. A legacy of light, Jamal reflected, unveiling solar grids. Kwame, gazing at the horizon from a cliffside, pondered, from obscurity to orchestra, fate's grand design. United, they embraced tomorrows, bonds forged in fire, unbreakable. In the resplendent halls of the renamed Okoro Legacy Center, formerly the Adebayo Estate, a grand assembly convened for the official inheritance unveiling and justice ceremony. Throngs gathered, villagers in festive attire, reformed business leaders, international dignitaries, and media crews capturing every moment. Drums thundered, dancers swirled in colorful asoke, invoking ancestral spirits. Aisha, adorned in regal beads and wrapper, ascended the stage, voice resonant. "We stand here not in victory over one man, but in triumph of truth over tyranny." She chronicled the harrowing path, the insidious poisoning, the staged burial, the desperate escapes through Lagos's underbelly, the familial revelations that mended broken lineages. Kwame followed, his presence commanding in a tailored agbada. "I rose from streets despair, called by blood's whisper. Today we reclaim what greed sought to steal." He announced endowments, academies for the underprivileged, funded by reclaimed fortunes, drawing cheers. Fatima and Jamal presented blueprints, community farms, tech incubators countering oil's scars. The audience rose in ovation, emotions cresting. The pinnacle arrived with Tajuddin's virtual testimony from prison, his once arrogant demeanor shattered. "Ambition blinded me to kin and kindness." Aisha responded with measured grace. "Forgiveness mends, but accountability endures." The hall exploded in acclaim, tears mingling with joy as fireworks illuminated the night sky. A collective dance ensued, symbolizing rebirth and unity. the deceit's threads fully unraveled. Motivations evolved, from survival's grit to stewardship's grace. The climax, a radiant beacon for the marginalized, affirming that righteousness reshapes destinies.
This epic reminds us that genuine riches reside in familial ties and the valor to unveil truths transcending social strata. The humble can dismantle dominions when guided by integrity. Avarice obscures vision, yet compassion charts redemption's course. Heed this: forebears honor the equitable, and concealed injustices invariably surface, illuminating paths to harmony and renewal. If this expanded saga of intrigue and triumph captivated you, subscribe now and enable notifications for more immersive African folktales. If you were Kwame, how would you have handled the revelation? Drop your thoughts in the comments.